What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss Show. And in today's episode, I wanted to talk on something I just thought of like a few seconds ago. But when should a person stop working? Like overall, like they just stop working. They retire. Like they retire from their 9 to 5s or their career or business, whatever they got going on in their life, they just retire from it. Just up and retire. Here's the thing. I've heard people retire at like around my age when they're in their 20s, and they just out there living a lavish life. Nah, the reason why I'm saying it like that is because my friend Yunin, she was Twitch streaming, and she said it like that, and so I'm like, nah, from now on, I'm gonna just start saying lavish. If people ask, I'm just gonna be like, hey, it was a friend of mine's. I like how it sounds better than lavish, all right, but I'm saying lavish. I know how to pronounce lavish, but I just like saying lavish because it sounds better. But anyways, yeah, they just be having a lavish life, and then they just be chilling, relaxing. Then you hear where people they retire when they're like in their like after like their middle ages and stuff. And but what is like a middle age though? What is middle age? Because like that's what I'm confused on. And people because here's my thing. I know people will probably ask me, when will I up and retire from, my career goals and career paths and all of that stuff? Because overall, I want to be an entertainer. You don't really hear it where too many entertainers like retire. They usually work up until the day they pass on. So that's how I see it for myself. I'm just gonna work until I pass on. I really don't see myself ever coming out and being like, oh, I'm gonna retire from YouTube or I'm gonna retire from Twitch streaming or anything else. Like, nah, I'm gonna be going at that stuff all the way. Well, and if there's something that succeeds and it does better than YouTube and Twitch streaming and TikTok and all that stuff, then I'll get into that. But at the end of the day, and that's another thing where I'm like, I'm overall that's like one of the things I want to do is create a business where I'm helping out like small Twitch streamers and small YouTubers, to let them know like, hey, yo, it's, you ain't alone. Like, I was in your shoes and I just don't want nobody, or I was in their shoes at one point in time, but I just don't want you to be in my shoes back then. So I'm like, I'm giving you a platform where overall, like, you work for it, you put in the work, but you do get your recognition and stuff, and you get some support and things. I just overall want to create like a community, or like, I want to be able to create a platform with a loving community and stuff. So, but anyways, that's the plan, that's the goal. Like, to me, like, I feel like that's like the higher up goal and stuff. Watch that movie Labyrinth. That's like my journey. Like, I'm going through all these different things right now just to be able to get to that goal and things. But anyway, I don't know why I referenced the movie Labyrinth. It was just a movie that popped to my mind. I watched it not too long ago. That movie, if you've never seen that movie, I would recommend watching it. That was like one of my favorite childhood movies to watch. But so anyways, but no, back on this, like, what age should a person retire? Because I know my parents, they've talked on it, and I've heard other people talk on it, and it's just something that I don't really see myself doing. And I'm not saying that, like, oh, you should never retire, you should work. Like, my thing is, like, if you do want to retire, it's up to you, it's your choice. Like, if you want to, chill, because see, here's the thing, like, with me, I see is that, like, what I'm doing already, I'm already chilling at home. So at the end of the day, like, I did, as, like, in technically, but not technically, I have already retired, so now I'm just at home chilling and stuff. But that's the thing though, it's like, I just don't want to be working at a miserable job and then be bragging like, oh, I'm finally retiring, I don't want that. I want to be able to do something that I love and be able to like be, to tell myself and tell others like, oh, okay, I'm never going to stop doing this. I'm going to keep going at this for as long as I possibly can. So I never really see myself retiring, but it's a thing though. I mean, you hear about it a lot. Like, it's one of those things where it's like people, they do it and they've been doing it for years and years, generations and generations, decades, centuries, all of that stuff. So people, they do it with me, but me though, I'm like, I don't know, because I feel like that if there was a time where I were to think about quitting everything, I still would want it to carry on. And, I would want to still be, like, working behind it to making sure, like, the legacy. So, like, the day when I do create this platform where it ends up being, like, one of the biggest platforms possible, And it's it's like overall like, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, I've did everything that I possibly could. That's the thing though, I just don't ever see myself like being in that mindset where I'm like, I've done everything. If anything, I'm just like, okay, I can't think of nothing right now, but I got to do something. So that's why with me, I'm like, I just don't ever really see myself retiring, because I'm like, I've said that before, and it's something that I stand behind like strongly, where it's like your mind is just this big like open galaxy. It's this open galaxy where it's like, and I see it as like my idea is kind of like, it's like the same distance of a planet. But I feel like, my ideas is like all kind of close together. I might settle at one planet, move on to the next. But at the end of the day, I'm like, hey, you know what? Like I got multiple ideas like to just, keep me going in things. So I'm probably gonna be on my Betty White stuff pretty much. Like if y'all haven't taken a guess on what I'm trying to say, like I'm gonna be 90 something. So like still doing like whatever type of videos or whatever types of things is going on when I'm at that age. But yeah, overall I'm like, I just don't really see myself ever retiring. I'm just like, I'm gonna keep going at this for as long as possible and stuff. And yeah, I'm like, it's just one of those. That's one thing that I've always thought on doing, was even like when I do pass on, I still want to be able to come out with stuff. Like I still want to be able to be like, oh, okay, I got like all these videos and like all of these projects and things that I worked on, that I was just like, how like when musicians, when they pass and then they be like talking on how they got like all the music that they got saved and stuff, like Juice WRLD, prime example. They said that man got over 2,000 songs before he passed. So I'm like, bruh, like I might do something like that. I might one day just, but that's the thing though. I'm like, whatever I record, I just like, I like posting it. Like I don't, like recording stuff and not posting it. So unless it's like a project, I'm like a big project I'm working on. But other than that, I'm like, hey yo, like everything that I record, I post. So I'm like, I can't really think of. There has been times though where I recorded stuff and I ain't like it. Or I was just like, hey, you know what? Like, I don't even want to post this, and I just end up deleting it. There's been times where I've done that, but yeah, I just don't ever really see myself being that person and things. Or I'm like, I want to get all of it like done and out the way, but at the same time, I probably when I do get to a much more older age, I might consider that. But other than that, I'm like, hey, yeah, like, cause that's one thing that I love doing is writing. So I'm like, if I can't think, my thing is like, this is just pretty much how I want you, like, how I like my work ethic works and stuff. If I don't have no videos to record, I'll work on for an example, if I can't think of any videos to react to, I'll do videos for one of my other channels. If I can't think of no videos for them other channels, I'll make a gaming video. If I can't find any video games to play, I'll make a TikTok video. If I can't think of no TikTok videos to make, then I'll make some music. If I can't think of no music to, pretty much it's a circle. And I'm like, oh, okay. And here's the thing where I'm like, while I'm going in that circle, if I can't think of a gaming video a gaming video to do, then I'm like, wait a minute, I could react to something gaming related. So I'm right back at like step one, where I'm like, okay, reaction videos, and then doing videos for one of my other channels. I'm like, oh, I could talk on like, the technology behind this on my technology channel. And then I'm talking on that, might mention like, oh, there's a artist that made a rap song about that. So I'm like, oh, I can review that artist on my hip hop channel. Talking about that artist, I'm like, oh, that was crazy. He got into some drama last year. So then I go over with it like with a YouTuber, like pretty much just throwing examples. I ain't saying like any of the stuff that I'm saying is like true or that's actually happened. But I'm just like, so then I'm like, oh, okay, I can talk on my, like, my news channel, talk on that. Then leading into one of my, then it was just like, that kind of reminds me of the sport event, start doing some sport videos and things. And so I'm like, yeah, my creativity and my work, it's a never end point. Like if I can show you guys the amount of work that I have even discovered yet that I have to do, like that's how I see my work. It's like, it's work that I haven't even discovered that I need to do. So that's why I'm like, I'm always going to be creating channels. I'm always going to be coming out with content. There's just a never end point to what I'm doing and stuff. And honestly, I like that. I love that so much. I love the fact that I'm like that. So that's why I just don't ever really see myself retiring. Because I'm like, even then when I'm like, oh, okay, well, when I retire, I still want to be able to do something. You know, like I want, like that's the thing. So if I ever do announce that I retire, I'm like, I'm still gonna be going at it. You know, even like look at wrestlers where it's like they don't fully retire from wrestling. You know, there's at times where you hear where they're teaching other people to be a wrestler, or they'll have like a background, like you know, they're doing something wrestling related. Or even with musicians, I never really hear a musician retire. Like that's one thing, cause what Ludacris said that that he was gonna retire from rap. What did that man do? He still was coming out with music. Nicki Minaj, she did the same thing, talking about she was gonna retire because she wanted to focus on her family. Now she's coming out with music again. I'm pretty sure. I feel like a lot of artists they do that. They say that they're gonna retire and then they don't retire, and that's the thing where I'm like, I don't want to lie to people and be like, oh, I'm retiring, I'm done, I can't do it no more, and then be like, oh, okay, I'm coming back. Like if anything's, I'm gonna be like, I'm taking a break, or I'm just gonna relax for a second. And I don't even tell people when I'm doing that. I just do it, because my thing is like, okay, So here's the thing with me. I always make sure I have videos to fall back on. So in case of an emergency where I just can't record nothing, I'm like, okay, well, I got some videos that I can work on or do. So I'm like, I got something that I can work on. There's never a time where I'm like, okay, I can't work on nothing right now. I'm like, no, there's always some videos that I can work on. So whether I'm uploading videos or publishing videos or editing videos, or if I need to do a vlog or whatever, like I set like opportunities like always as open, so that's why with me, I'm like, I couldn't be that person. I'm like, and that's, a part of me is like, I don't want to tell people it's like you shouldn't retire. Like, I mean, if you want to retire, then it's up to you. But at the same time with me, I'm like, what I really want to say is be like, if you don't want to retire, or you just, you're not cut out, like always just set opportunities open for yourself where you're doing something that's like work related and stuff. So just, always keep busy and things. But yeah, I'm like, I just don't ever see myself retiring. I'm like, I couldn't even fix my like mouth to say some stuff like that. It just even feels weird to say like, hey, I'm retiring. Like, it feels weird. It doesn't seem right, but because I'm like, I just don't ever see especially at my age where I'm like, I got so much energy and I just got so much in me and stuff where I'm like, man, the career that I leave behind, it's going to be one of the like biggest careers ever, because I'm like, just the amount of work that I put into everything's, whether it's YouTube and then just the stuff that I'm not like, because I see this like the things that I'm not even able to do right now. Like if I felt like if I had all of the tools to be somebody great, like if I had like a dope music studio, if I had a dope gaming setup, if I had just overall a dope YouTube setup, or I have all of the gear that I possibly need to become the best of the best, oh man, I'm telling you guys, like it's like I said, I'm gonna leave behind a career that's just, I'm gonna make sure of it, that it's untouchable, that nobody, if people want to like aim in that position to do something like me, then I'm like, hey, you know what, do what you gotta do. But at the same time, I'm gonna just make sure I'm like, let people know like I'm a one of a kind person. So I'm like, you don't know too many YouTubers at 30 plus YouTube channels, got content on all of them and all of that. So yeah, I'm like, I always make sure I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be doing something, so yeah, that's why with me, I'm like, I couldn't do it. I'm like, even now, I'm like, even after this, I'm like, it's still gonna be, recording a bunch of videos. Like, you would have thought though, when it's like, well, all of this stuff that I've done, like somebody, you would thought like it'd been like a lifetime of like, of content, like stuff that I've only been recording videos for like 6 years. Like taking YouTube and being a content creator seriously, I've only been doing that for like 6 years. But I see it as this. My thing is this. Just so naming off all the stuff that I've done. Like in the past 6 years, I've released numerous songs. Last year, I released 2 albums, and then an album day 1 of this year. And then what else? I've uploaded thousands of videos onto YouTube, and then it's messed up, like having to delete hundreds of videos. Like, overall, regardless, I'm like, I don't care what goes down with me. I'm like, I'm still gonna be posting content and doing things, but posted thousands of videos. And then this year, like streaming on like almost every single day this year. I might have missed a few days, but I still was like, that's why I'm like, you think about it, it's like a person with like, most people would have been like retired or done, like, oh, I can't do no more. With me, I'm like, bro, I haven't even scratched the surface of the stuff that I want to do. That's the crazy thing about it all, is that with the thousands of videos, hundreds of, or might be over 100 songs. I don't even know how many songs I've recorded and posted and stuff. But just with the tons of songs I've like produced and things, and with everything else, I'm like, and then what, TikTok video, I'm like, oh my, like the career I'm gonna leave behind, it's just gonna be crazy. But I'm like, that's the one thing though, I'm like, I felt like I haven't even really started my career, so that's why I'm like, I can't really talk on retirement right now, because I'm just trying to let the world know of my career, and then be able to take it more seriously and things. But anyways, yeah, I felt like this episode turned into like, me wanting to like talk on like retirement, but then also like, motivate people and things, because it was like it was maybe in the like first 5 minutes of this episode, I was like, okay, like I don't know what else to talk on. All right, switch up, motivational episode. But anyways, I will talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. If you're viewing this on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe. And if you're viewing this on the podcast streaming service, make sure you follow and subscribe. It is very, very helpful. Make sure you subscribe to one of my 32 YouTube channels. Follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Twitch, and Instagram at TMossBoss. Like my page on Facebook at TMossBoss fan page. Use my promo on Rogue Energy to get you some powdered drinks or some cups. Yeah, but use my promo code TMossBoss and it'll give you a discount on whatever you're purchasing. And I also do the same for GEEK. Knocks $20 off your first purchase. Use my promo code TMossBoss. And yeah, and that being said, I will talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening, and peace.